Welcome to Life as God Intended. I'm glad you're here. Today, I want to share something deeply personal. My journey with fasting and how it has become a way of life for me. Fasting has brought incredible transformation in my spiritual, psychological, and physical well-being, and I'm excited to share those experiences with you. But before we begin, I need to share a quick disclaimer. What I'm about to discuss is based on my own personal experience and is not in any way intended as medical advice. I'm a Christian counselor, not a medical professional. And if you're considering fasting, especially a prolonged fast, please consult your healthcare provider to ensure it's safe and appropriate for your unique situation. And while I am sharing my personal journey with fasting, I want to be clear. I'm not an expert on the subject, and my experience with fasting is still quite limited. Now let's dive into the journey of fasting and the amazing impact it can have on your life. Back in 2018, I began fasting as a way of losing weight. I was terribly overweight, and I finally came to the realization that I needed to do something. So in conversation with the Lord, he said, we need to stop eating. But as I continued, I realized fasting wasn't just reshaping my body as it did, it was reshaping my life. And over time, fasting became more than a temporary practice. It became a holistic discipline that touched every part of my life: body, soul, spirit. And here's what I've discovered about fasting benefits and how it has brought renewal in unexpected ways. Let's start with the physical. One of the most fascinating things about fasting is its impact on the body. During extended fasting, the process of autophagy kicks in. You say, well, what is that? Well, that's when your body removes damaged cells and begins to regenerate healthier ones. It's like your body's natural reset button. And here are a few physical benefits that I've personally experienced: a stronger immune system, improved digestion and detoxification, increased energy levels, and slowing down aging and even extending longevity. Fasting gives your body a chance to rest from the constant demands of digestion. Think about how much we eat and how often we eat. Did you know that digesting a meal can use up to 65% of your body's energy? Fasting frees that energy and allows your body to focus on healing and restoration. Number two, the psychological benefits. Fasting also clears your mind. Without the time and energy spent on food, thinking about it, preparing it, eating it, or traveling to get it, you suddenly have what I call the gift of focus. Life feels less cluttered and your days seem so much longer. That's amazing, but it's true. For me, fasting helped shift my focus from the tyranny of the urgent to what truly matters. And guess what? It allowed me to reflect deeply and prioritize what's important in my life relative to what God's trying to do in my life. My mind became sharper. I should say my mind becomes sharper, and I felt and I feel more centered in my purpose. And my purpose as a Christian, a Christ one, is simply to participate with Him. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the busyness of life, fasting can help create space for intentional living. The third benefit of fasting, spiritual benefits. The spiritual benefits of fasting has been the most life-changing. During extended fasts, I experience a heightened awareness of Christ's presence, a clearer understanding of my identity in Him and how to function in Him, an increased ability to hear His voice and respond in faith. I'm a Christian counselor. Fasting has made me more sensitive to how Christ is working in the lives of others. It strips away distractions and fleshly tendencies, allowing me to walk in deeper intimacy with Christ. It reminds me of His words, "For without me, you can do nothing, Don." John 15:5. You might ask, is fasting difficult? Yes, fasting is challenging, but so are many things in life, right? The key is not striving, but deriving, leaning on Christ to sustain us in the midst of difficulty. He said, "My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness." 2 Corinthians 12:9. Not a better time to rely on His strength than when you're weak. Fasting, you become strong spiritually. Fasting isn't about perfection, it's about participation. It's a way of bringing my body under submission to Christ. As Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 27. In those difficult moments, I'm reminded to depend on Him. And I do have difficult moments, but I'm reminded to depend on Him. And He is always faithful to meet me there in the moment of my need. So you might ask what my fasting journey has looked like. Well, to give you some perspective, here's a timeline of my longer fasting experiences. I've fasted, 3 days here or 5 days there, and even 10 days over the course of my Christian life. But my longer fasting experiences consist of the following. In 1992 was my first long water fast of 21 days. Then I went all the way to 2018 before experiencing another long fast. And that was, as I said, 2018. And I went on a 43-day water fast, which was interestingly preceded by 17 days of intermittent fasting. I was on one meal a day and a keto diet. And on Father's Day, my family took me out to eat and I gained a couple of pounds and I said, "Oh no." So then I began a water fast, which ended up lasting 43 days. And that fast in 2018 was in the month of June and July, consumed those 2 months. And then in 2019, I went on a 28-day water fast in January or February of that year. Then 2020 rolled around and I went on another 21-day water fast in August and September. And then in 2022, I went on another 40-day water fast in the month of June and July. And then this past year, 2024, I did 2 prolonged fasts, a 40-day fast and a 21-day fast, totaling 60 days of fasting within a 90-day period between the month, consecutively kind of June, July, and August. I took about a 14-day break, 10 to 14-day break between the 40 and the 21-day fast. And here we are, 2025, a brand new year. I'm currently in the midst of a water fast, and I'm aiming for at least 21 days, possibly more, as the Lord leads. And that's kind of how I've done each of my fasts. I really didn't set goals per se as to how long I was going to fast, because that in itself was a distraction. I did this day by day as I was participating with Christ as my life and as He was leading me to do so and strengthened me to do so. So what are the benefits of fasting? Well, as I've mentioned, fasting touches every part of our being, spirit, soul, and body. Here's a quick overview. Physically, fasting detoxifies, reduces inflammation, which is really one of the main things for disease and ill health, and it enhances healing. Psychologically, it provides clarity and helps reset emotional patterns. And spiritually, fasting fosters a deeper connection with Christ and freedom from distractions. Fasting's not about deprivation, it's about renewal. It's about aligning our lives with God's design for wholeness and health as God intended. As I mentioned, fasting has become a way of life for me, not just for its physical benefits, but because it deepens my dependence on Christ. In fact, that's the primary reason. It continually reminds me of my complete reliance on Him and the sufficiency of His grace. If fasting's something you're considering, I encourage you to explore it prayerfully. Consult your doctor. Remember, fasting is not about compulsion or comparison. It's about experiencing the fullness of life as God intended. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you fasted? What was your experience like? Share in the comments below. I'd love to connect with you. And if you found this video encouraging and challenging, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might benefit. Don't forget to check out more of my content on topics like spiritual growth, relational intimacy with Christ, and living life as God intended. And until next time, remember the words of the Apostle Paul, "For to me, to live is Christ, and to die is gain." Philippians 1:21.